power supply then.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it, a good chunk of tattooers now are digi-babies.
Yeah.
Everything's digital.
Yeah.
Their art, their machines,
True.
their
Yeah.
entire lives
Good point.
are digital. You know?
Yeah,
And that's
man.
a huge chunk of the tattoo population.
You're right, because I mean, as you know, even it's like we got these kids who they don't either they're old enough to know a little bit about life before the digital world, or like I think our youngest daughter like never knew without it. It was always there's always a cell phone pointed at her face or in her hand, and so it's just it's crazy. No, I mean, this is normal.
We got artists at the shop, never hand painted a thing until they came there, and then after us razzing them enough, they're like, "Fine, I'll sit down and paint." And then it's a wake up call.
Sure.
Because when you're spit shading a sheet, it is totally different than double tap.
Yeah.
Move this over just a little bit.
Well, I think that's cool about Drew, and Drew and I were connected through somebody. Well, okay, I'm gonna go grab a beer.
Yeah.
Because
I'll grab.
Okay, cool.
You want another?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the company I was working with when I came in and met you guys, his like aunt owns it. I didn't know that, obviously at the time. So like a couple years ago, he's like, "Hey, you used to work for Dennis and Julie." Well, they were my aunt and uncle, and I'm trying to get an apprenticeship, and they're like, "I think I know a guy," and so that's the connection. Thank you.
Yep.
That we have, but he was already doing stuff like spit shading before the apprenticeship. I'm like, dude, I don't even spit shade. That's pretty sick.
Nice.
Like I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because that's tactile, and nobody wants to do that. I don't even want to do that.
You should.
I know.
It's fun.
It's good for you.
Well, this is my watercolor. That's as far as watercolor I got, and that's legit. Paintbrush paint, and I hate it.
Yeah, just replace the water with your spit. You'd be fine.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's here why all these artists go crazy.
The beautiful thing about hand painted art is it's not digital, and it allows younger folks who've only ever learned on an iPad that it's not going to look like the sticker that you just drew. It's going to have character, and okay, now you got a bloop on there that because you dropped your paintbrush. Now what are you going to do?
The table.
Yeah.
You're going to farm the whole thing, or you're going to figure out how to make it work. And there's a permanence to it too, right? Like where with the iPad and Procreate or whatever program you're using, you can double tap and it's all over. You got your circle of a 32nd of an inch in the wrong place. Just move that bitch out.
Dude, okay, so do you use an iPad?
I do. Yep.
Okay. Have you ever, like, if you're freehanding something on a person?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I do that.
I've done this.
You're just like, anybody see that?
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like I hand draw everything. I don't,
but it does sound like you have. You obviously know the importance of it. You appreciate the tradition, the history, what it brings, and I think that's worth a lot. But yeah, I think also, how long have you been tattooing now? I mean, you've been tattooing longer than I have.
Yeah, 2005.
Yeah, so damn, dude, you're almost 20 years.
20, yeah.
Wow.
Late 2005, so almost 2006, whatever. But still,
so crazy.
It's been a while.
It's so crazy, dude. I mean, do you find it wild that you're like, I've known some of these guys for 20 years.
Yeah, dude, it's a trip. And every once in a while, I'll be sitting there tattooing, and I'll literally look up and be like, we're fucking tatting.
Yeah.
Because it was a dream for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like, when we were coming up, it was still bad people who got tattoos, or people of ill repute, or people from the other side of the tracks, or whatever. Like, my parents were so opposed to the idea of this.
Yeah.
And now, and I was drawn since I was a little kid, and I remember my dad bought me this like drafting table and all this stuff. And he's like, "Well,
cool.
you won't do much with it because you won't love it." I hold that against him to this day. I remind him, he's like, "Well, I was wrong.
That's super cool.
I was wrong."
So then, when did you start drawing? Like, just for fun?
I don't think I ever stopped from when I was a little kid.
As far as you can remember.
A moment. So art runs in my family. Like, my sister can draw. When I was a little kid, I had my mom's bedroom. I was raised by my grandparents.
Yeah.
Came up in the house that she grew up in.
Yeah.
And there were 2 pieces of art. One was a chalk of a trout jumping out of the water. And the other one was a painting. I don't remember what it was. And I just remember when I was a kid sitting there and being like, my mom did those.
Dang, that's awesome.
And so my mom's from New York. My dad's from Texas.
You said New York?
Yeah.
What?
We were born on military base.
Okay.
18 months into the marriage, it all over with. So we moved back to New York. But we'd fly back and forth to go see our dad. And one flight that we were on, we were little. I mean, little. And my sister wanted to color, but they didn't have any coloring books. They had crayons, but they had nothing to color on. So I drew pages out of her Beauty and the Beast little book that she had for her to color.
Super cool.
And I got so much attention from the stewardesses. I was like, I like this.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing
Right.
it. So I think like one of the differences between like tatters and say like the public is we never quit drawing, never quit coloring, never quit doodling. It's just always been, and I think that's true of most artists that they never stop from when they were little bitty.
Right. Yeah.
But,
That's true.
so all my life I've drawn. I was into comics a lot when I was a kid, so I did a lot of like comic book related stuff, which I think is really applicable to the tattoo. Because
100%.
Because like when you draw a comic, you start with a storyboard, then it's pencil, then it's ink, then it's color. You know what I mean? Like it's
exactly. Well, and it's grown for me personally. I grew up in such a small town. We didn't even have comic books, so I'm jealous for people who grew up with that. But so this day, I love line drawings because and I do relate it to seeing like uncolored comic art that I've seen since just paying attention. But it's one of my favorite things. But yeah, I would totally and I think even uncolored comic art is that's cool enough.
Yeah.
And then if you add color on it, I don't think you can really mess it up after that. After the black is down, it just looks so dynamic. And you're just like, whoa, dude, this is so cool. And the composition. So was that a big influence, comics?
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else? Like,
I don't know.
I mean, that's a lot of human figures.
Something to do.
Yeah.
Art when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Something to do.
Did you have tattoos? Like, were you seeing tattoos growing up, or was it kind of when you got older?
No. Well, okay. So the very first time I ever saw anything that had to do with tattooing, other than of course tattoos on, some old blue arm guy, whatever. Was, I don't know, I was 12 or 13, and my cousins took me to this house party, and there was some dude in the corner doing party tats.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just awestruck.
Yeah.
Was he using a machine?
Yeah.
No way.
It was the real deal.
Yeah.
It wasn't in there with some homemade machine.
Sure.
And I had so many questions, and of course I'm a little kid, so he treated me like I was a little kid.
Yeah.
That from that day on, I was like, that shit's cool. That's the coolest shit I've ever seen. And it was like, these were like punk rocker guys.
Dude, I was just going to say, that is so punk rock. And that is such the punk rock way to get into tattooing.
Yeah.
I think it's insane. I love that.
So moving forward from that, like after you saw that, obviously like internet tattoos, that's a whole new thing. Like how did you keep consuming like tattoo material, or how did you start to transition more into that world?
Well, it all kind of happened by happenstance. I'd kind of given up. Tattooing wasn't one of those things where you felt like you could make a career out of it when I was younger. You know what I mean? And like I said, it was fringy stuff. And that I was doing. So when I started tattooing, I was essentially doing social work, working for a domestic violence organization.
Okay.
And I worked at a school with an after kids program. And we're in a little tiny town, town of 2,000 people, right? And I'd always heard they won't let you have a tattoo shop here. And then there was a tattoo shop opening, and I was like, well, I'm curious.
Yeah.
So I went in and asked her, and initially went in just talk about art, but then we got into the conversations, and then she told me to bring in some art. I brought in art the next day, and here I am.
Yeah. So you think that was your foot in the door was with Tawny?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure I could have been a scratcher if I wanted to, or tried to find. I feel like without Tawny, I would have just stumbled along until I found some place to go. And in that area, where was I going to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty landlocked for sure.
I could bring up some names and be like, I'm not working for them, and I know that you wouldn't work for them.
Yeah, or even if you wanted,
you ain't getting in.
You're not going to get in.
That's such a, like, CM told me the story of like seeing the shop out in Hawaii, and this is Aiken, right? And how he walked in there. I grew up in the Brainerd area, and that is such a random like niche spot in Aiken for a tattoo shop.
For a tattoo shop that originated in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love Tawny. I have a very high opinion of her, so everything I say about her will be glowing. You know, that kind of thing. But the only reason she opened that shop in Aiken is because she had heard they won't let you have one. She had a farm that she was like renting. She bought an old turkey farm, and so she had 70,000 square foot under roof. So she had the farm making money for her. The only reason she opened the tat shack is because she missed tattooing, and she wanted to stick a thumb in the eye of the people who said they won't let you have one. And we did have. There was a lot of like displeasure. There were people who would talk a lot of shit about it, you know, and it's a good old boy town. But we did it. We did it.
Well, that was also back in the day where there were not regulations like there are today.
No, it was 2010 when that started.
And I recall the only regulation back then was just you can't get tattooed under 8
without parental. Well, you still couldn't. I'm trying to think.
I think it just depended on the county.
Yeah, it may have, but I think like Tawny's ethical thing wouldn't allow her. Like my entire time there, I only tattooed one person under age of 18, and the only reason we tattooed them is because he was a contractor for the U.S. government, and they were all going to Iraq or Afghanistan or something, and they all got the same little lizard in case something happened to them. They could identify.
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So when you hear a story like that, you're like, oh yeah, I'll do the tat.
Again, that's the tattoo spirit that
we've taken too much of the cowboy out of tattoo. I am sorry, but we've taken too much of the cowboy out of this. Man.
The guy I've been getting tattooed by the last number of years. Yeah, I mean that's where I got the coin. Just his phrase is like, dude, tattooing used to be punk rock, and it's just not now. Yeah. It's just you know, and it's things like that. And dude, looking back, I don't know what your take is on this. You can talk about it if you want to, but during COVID, they had a lot of us scared, like, oh man, you'll shut me down. So now looking back though, after it's all said and done, one, you just know like how limited the health department is in our state.
No teeth.
But then you just drive, you know, even between here and Duluth, you're like, this is a lot of space. There's no way they're going to cover all this space. And so it's like, man, I kind of wish we would have just kept tattooing. You know, board up the windows.
Same.
Because I heard shops down in Texas that they're like,
I know shops in Minnesota that were still working.
Yeah, dude. And
I'm not going to say whether tasks were done by me or not, but they might have.
Yeah.
The thing, I'm a professional tattooer. I've been doing this a long time. I know how to keep myself and other people safe.
Exactly.
I understand why we have rules around some things. I wouldn't mind the Department of Health if they were actually doing things for us. But it just feels like more bureaucracy. When they tell you right to your face, there's nothing we can do about that. We don't have any teeth. You're like, well, why are you even here? Why are you inspecting me then if you got no teeth? I'm not saying I want to see people punished. I definitely don't want to see that. But it just feels, and it's kind of felt this way the whole time, that the whole thing was just bureaucratic nonsense. Just them trying, just even like our license price went from $110 to $420.
And it's more than like some surgeons pay.
Yeah, dude, it's insane.
It is insane. So if you've totaled it up, like between shops, tattooers, piercers, millions of dollars, dude, just in the body art. And it's like, what? Like they don't even have a phone number.
Well, and now they're trying. Well, they are making it So I don't know if you saw the new email that came out or if you read them at all, but they're making it so that it's completely hands off. It's all digital. It's all essentially an app, right? And it's like, okay, well then where's this money going?
Well, okay, can we do our inspections through the app then? Like here.
Yeah.
It's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and from like what I hear you say all the time, it seems like they try to make it like so difficult for the people who are trying to do it right, where it's like the whole thing that you guys were talking about earlier. After 2 years, you can just go open up a tattoo studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one open up in Duluth. God, I want to say the name. I'm not going to. I want to say the name just because it's ridiculous that you would name a tattoo.
I can bleep it out if you want.
Yeah.
We call that. Edit that out. So this was just some guy, not even a tattooer, who I don't know what he was thinking. He just opened a tattoo shop, right? No licenses, no whatever. They had stuff thumbtacked to the walls.
No.
And then people had called the State Department. And so I guess they were killing two birds with one stone. So when they came up there to check on them, they hit all the shops, right? And so Al was telling us about it. And the only way they got kicked out of there was because the landlord figured out that if they got sued, he could be liable also because they were an unlicensed, unregistered. Because not only was he unlicensed by the state, but he wasn't registered with like the state of Minnesota as owning a business.
Oh my god,
that kind of stuff. Like he just literally
weird.
And so the only way he got shut down, or they got shut down, all these unlicensed people, was because the landlord said, "You got to go."
Wow.
Now, granted, it was by pressure from whatever, but still,
yeah.
I should have been able to go in there, or whoever should have been able to go in there and be like, "No, that's right. That's why they're there, right?" Like,
yeah, I mean,
nope, that's not why they're there. They're there to bust our balls.
Exactly, and that's and so then kind of going back, it's like, man, so scared during COVID. It's like, man, I can't lose. And I was even talking to other badass punk rock tattooers who've been tattooing twice as long, if not more than I have. They're like, dude, aren't you afraid you're going to lose your license? I'm like, they're not going to.
It's a $3,000 fine if they find out.
Because when we got to reopen, I don't know if you remember this, but it was like, per square footage thing. I'm like,
dude, they were trying to make us tattoo through barriers. They
Are you serious?
they wanted a barrier between us and
the
park, like
a sandblasting.
Wow.
For cold. Sorry.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Well, right. So yes. So it's kind of like thinking about that kind of thing. Like, probably would have done the lizard too on the kid who, because really, whatever. Whatever.
I'll be honest with you. I was stoked when the only part of that thing I agree with is the 18 years old. It might even need to be 21, to be honest with you. But the reason I was happy for it is because I got sick of having to be the bad guy. Parents bringing their kid to the shop so that I have to tell them no instead of the parent just doing their job and be like, no, you're not getting a rainbow SpongeBob. What is wrong with you?
Slow your roll a little bit. Yeah. Get your driver's license first, stupid. Yeah.
How long were you tattooing over there? I know that you and CM obviously had some overlap. I don't exactly know the timeline or anything.
You there before?
So until 2008.
Okay.
2008 is when I moved to Duluth. But Tawny had been sick and away from the shop for a year. So 2007, because when was it that you showed up? 2006-ish? 2007?
I'll work backwards. I know I went to work with Brandon at One Life in February of 2007, because that's basically where I say my clock started.
Sure.
My tattoo.
I would too.
Yeah. So then maybe at least a year before that.
Yeah, so 2006-ish, 2005-ish, so it was late 2006, maybe early 2007, when she had a car accident because of what was going on with her. She was losing oxygen to her brain, so she was making poor decisions. And like the local cop called me, was like, "Yo, she's here spinning her tires in the ditch. I think she's drunk." And I'm like, "Dude, she's a teetotaler. She don't drink at all." Like, I was like, "If that's what's going on, something's wrong." And in a town of 2,000 people, you can have a conversation with a town cop like that.
Right.
And so then they figured out that it was lack of oxygen to her brain, so they put her in the hospital. And then when she got out of the hospital, she stayed with her family, of course.
Okay.
But I kept the shop going just because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? No one was giving me. I just kept paying the bills and doing tats and scrubbing tubes because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So I ran it for about a year without her, and then it got to the point to where we knew we were going to have to shut it down, and she shut it down. I was over in Duluth visiting a friend, and he wanted to go check out a tat shack, so we went and checked out this place. And the dude had just lost all of his. He had mutiny, and everybody left to start their own place. And he's like, "You can start work tomorrow." And I said, "I will start work tomorrow."
Yeah,
nice.
So
when and where do you feel that, like? I guess, I mean, you were learning under somebody or working under somebody. When do you feel like you kind of like were like, I'm a tattoo artist now? Was that kind of like when you transitioned to Duluth, or? I guess I don't know. Maybe it was a formal, like an apprenticeship.
I think to interject with that too, like I know I've always kind of followed your work. I don't know if you've done, but I feel like, you know, we've looking back on even that stupid picture is like, man, we got better.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh God. So I got a story.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting. This is, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, and I'm doing, I don't know, some weird writing tattoo or whatever.
Yeah.
And this lady starts telling me about her first tattoo experience, and I'm like, that's fucking me, bro. I know she's talking about me. And okay, so she got this tattoo, and it was a cherry with a ribbon, and in the ribbon it said, the cherry was broken. It says, "I've been very naughty." So
Oh, okay.
and I was like, I gotta see this tat. I said, let me see the tat. And I was like, you're in next week for a cover up, dear. Because like the writing was so small. It was just ribbon, black line, black line. I covered it up for free.
No way.
But yeah,
That's awesome.
definitely gotten better.
Yeah. So how do you think that, like, when did that click where it's like, I can be better, or I should be better, or I want to be better?
Well, I've always been like, okay, why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
What happened? Why does this not look like this? What are they doing? So I never was like, I guess I was never really confident enough in myself to be like, I'm the shit.
So you were never satisfied.
Right, no, and I'm still not.
And I appreciate that.
I'm still trying to be better.
I think that's
day.
where like legit tattooers need to be. Where it's
Yeah,
just like,
if you're what's the old saying? If you're not growing, you're dying, or whatever.
Yeah. I was gonna say your shit don't stink. I don't know.
Right. Along the lines of that question, though, I would say probably about 5-6 years into my career, where I was like, every day wasn't absolutely terrifying, right? Like, I wasn't going to go in and someone's going to be like, I want this and this. I'm like, oh God. Because I think if you're a sane person, the first few years of your tattooing career is you're just holding on and going for the ride.
I hope this works.
And then you get settled in. You know what you can and you can't do. You know what does and doesn't work. And I don't even know. Sometimes it's not even intuitive. It just happens. Like one day you're like, oh.
Yep. I'm gonna remember that.
But I've always tried to grow. I've always tried to learn. I've always tried to figure out why things are the way they are. And look at people's tattoo and be like, oh, that tattoo's gross. Okay, why? Why don't you like it?
Right.
What is it about it that's making? Because I don't want people to feel that way about my tats. You know.
Yeah, dude. I look at your work today and it's like, damn, dude.
To say compared to. God damn, if it hadn't gotten better in 20 years, what the fuck am I doing?
But have you seen that though? Because I have. I've had dudes come in and they're like, how long have you been tattooing? Oh, 30 years. I'm like, are you shitting me? Looks like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
And maybe that's where that's the process of like, I'm the shit, I know what I'm doing, and versus I want to keep on climbing.
What makes this better? Why don't mine look that way?
We were just at a convention. There was these two young cats. One had been tattooing 6 years, one had been tattooing 12 years. And when I say young cats, I mean they're young dudes, right?
Yeah.
They've been tattooing that long. But I'm looking at their work and I'm looking at their art and I'm like, this is cognitive dissonance here. What the hell is happening? These are two different things. So I was like, I'm gonna find out.
Mhm.
So I was like, what do you guys got going on here? And then these guys start arguing about color theory, and neither one of them have an idea of what the hell they're talking about. Because I did this tattoo, and I pushed seafoam green into purple. And this dude, while I'm in the middle of this tattoo, comes and stands over me. He's like, what are you doing? That's going to turn muddy. And I'm like,
oh my God.
So I stop my tattoo and I look up at him. I give him the look like, why the fuck are you in my booth? And I was like, not if you do it right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so then I had to take my client over and I said, see, that's how you do that.
Oh, wow.
It's not that I'm the whatever, you know what I mean? But how are you going to come over to a guy who's in the middle of a tattoo and tell him what he's doing in front of his client isn't going to work? When I know that it is. If I thought that it wasn't, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, and that's so disrespectful. That's totally not even thinking of that client, that person who's out of that group of people, like the most important person.
But what it did is it revealed that he really doesn't have a grasp on color theory or value or chrome, anything. Complementary color of purple is green and purple, like they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. You can put them together, and if you mix them, it does crazy things.
That's the whole thing of just like, I know what I'm doing. Like even if you think somebody's doing something wrong, maybe watch, because it's the whole thing of like, okay, let's say for some reason that wouldn't have worked. You can watch, see the process, and learn something. Maybe it didn't work. Obviously, you know.
You're going to find a gem in anybody who you watch tattoo.
True.
You're either going to find what not to do or what to do.
You know? You'll be able to take something away.
Everybody who comes through our Tat Shack, I'm asking questions. I'm looking to see what they're using. I'm looking to see what they're doing. I'm looking to see what their tattoos look like, how they're tattooing. I'm not above seeing a little trick that you got or seeing a color that you have and being like, I need that color.
Exactly. I've always said that, and I tell a lot of these guys that are getting into it, it's like, eventually you'll take a seminar or I'll give you a DVD to watch, and there's probably like one thing. Spend $150 on a stupid DVD, but there's like a 30-second what, and that's it. That's all I needed.
Those little whats are just the building blocks to keep on learning and learning and learning.
As you see it, from obviously when, like, I'll say when we started, because it was not that long ago, or separate, to like today, I mean, you've kind of alluded a little bit to it, like we've lost a lot of cowboy in the industry, but where do you think, like, why do you think that is? And maybe even, I guess, rant a little bit, because I like to do that, and I just don't want to be the only one doing it today. But like, why do you think that is? And then, do you think that it's going to be that way forever? Or is it something that's probably that maybe that piece will just like rot off, the shiny flashiness of it?
Okay, so I think if we look at society, society is a whole lot less cowboy than it was when we were kids, right? Society has changed, and I think some of that is reflected in there's a lot of virtue signaling in tattoo, because there's a lot of virtue signaling in life in general. People have gotten the idea that tattoos are luxury items, which I guess to a certain degree, they can be. But that's not where tattoo started. It didn't start as luxury items, and it's a whole new world, man. Like, it's not the same as when we were youngins. Like, even when we were coming up, the world was different. It is different now.
True.
I'm not entirely sure why, when I go to a convention, I watch someone who really just wants to bitch about the industry and cut people down for their belief systems or their political stance or whatever they are. Like, I watched a lady do a news interview, and I'm like, you could see the camera guy going like, because she's going on and on and on about how white supremacy has infiltrated tattooing, and you're like, what? Where are all these mighty whiteys?
Where is this at?
I've been here a while, and I ain't met one. Not one. Whatever is happening, this new generation loves bureaucracy. They love that the state or the government takes care of them, or any of that kind of stuff, where I think the generations before us, even our generation, were raised with distrust for big government systems.
Right.
And I'm not trying to get political. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Totally. Go.
I don't care if you're a whatever. I'll tattoo you, and I'll do it with a smile on my face, and we'll be friends, and we'll have a good time.
Right.
Sure.
Because I don't give a shit. I'm just here for the tats. Bro.
Yeah. No matter.
But I think it's also tribalism. People love their tribe, and if they can make their tribe the way that they want, I don't know, man. I guess in the end, I don't know why we're not as cowboy, but I think some people are afraid. You know, no one wants a $3,000 fine. No one wants, no one wants to get in trouble or any of that kind of stuff or whatever it is. But I'll still cowboy tattoo. I don't care. Just go in.
Well, I think that's cool, and I would agree with that. I hope that I would too. I like to think that maybe I'm stuck in the old ways. At least these new dudes hear me gripe about it all the time. Well, even Nye, who's been tattooing for a minute too. But it's kind of interesting. Like, we're not getting younger, and so I don't know. Maybe like our generation, I feel like whatever came after is when it started to change. I think, maybe not, but as we get older, and then even the dudes before us continue to get older and start going away, then it's like, man, what, and again, it's like, is it just going to change, or is it just going to keep going the way of like,
I think it's going to be the way that it is. It's going to be us old guys being like, who the fuck are you? I'll tattoo in a hotel room if I want to. Terrell can't tattoo in his goddamn hotel room.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I think it's us old guys where the young cats are still a little like, this is the way that it needs to be. And maybe some of that's their training, right? It needs to be sterile. It needs to be that, well, you can do all of those same things.
Yeah, at a kitchen table.
At a kitchen table.
Yeah.
Do I think that Joe Blow from down the way with his tat gat should be tattooing in his kitchen? Maybe not. You know what I mean? But
show me his process. Show me his setup.
But if I've been tattooing as long as I have, and I sit down to set up, everything I'm thinking about is sanitation. What's where? What's going on?
Exactly.
I don't like tattooing anywhere other than the shop.
Agreed.
Because I spend most of my time spinning in a circle looking for something that I should know exactly where it is.
Well, I mean, dude, tattooing at some conventions, you may as well be tattooing in somebody's bedroom.
You might as well. I mean, there's no difference. There's no difference whatsoever. You know how many times we go to 4 or 5 conventions every year, and you pay attention to stuff, and I've seen dudes just rip their gloves off, bare hand, wrap some cellophane around their client, and then go out and smoke with their client. Not even wash their hands. And you're like, it's the bare minimum, my guy. It's the bare minimum. Wash your paw, but
yeah. Well, and that, I mean, just thinking about working with Tawny, looking back, it's like, damn, how did that work?
I mean, at least she cared a little bit. Autoclave, tested her autoclave before that was even a thing.
Right. I mean? Well, and me coming in green, I'm like, I hear the history that she has, so it's like, well, I don't understand it, but it's got to be okay because she's doing it, and she's been tattooing longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, but the tattooing that they did, bro, I'm not disparaging her in any way, but she came up at a time of tattooing when they were tattooing on the beach. Fucking out of their minds on whatever substance they were on and having a great time and loving their tats.
I remember a story that she said, like, I worked with a guy in Alaska that he would clean his needles once a week, whether they needed it or not. And I think that meant just a good ultrasonic.
It did not mean going out. But that's the thing, like, when you look back on tattooing, if you look at, like, even on YouTube, you'll find some, like, the Tattoo Age, some of the older videos. They had their liner, their shader, their color machine in an ultrasonic, in a cup. And a rag in a bucket. They pull that rag out of the bucket, bring it out, pull that machine right out of the ultrasonic, bare hand. Dude, you can go on there and watch Homeboy. He's like doing a tattoo. I'm like, let's see the inside of your lip. And he's all like,
yeah,
barehanded.
yeah.
You're like, oh,
I know.
Lord.
Yeah, so there were probably like a quarter of, or if not less, of like bloodborne pathogens back then.
They didn't, but that's the thing. They didn't think about that. Like, I remember Tawny telling me, she's like, we really thought that HIV was the end of the industry.
Oh, sure.
And that, in the early 80s when there was all kinds of crazy shit on the news about what it was, where it came from, I promise you there was a downfall on the tattoo.
Yeah.
And these are people, so Tawny tattooed mostly ladies. Trained lots of ladies. They started wearing gloves because they were sick of having ink under their nails and in their cuticles.
Oh, how funny.
Not because of
sterile.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. That's so crazy. The A dude I know, he's like, dude, I was getting tattooed by him. He was wearing gloves. He's like, dude, you ever tattooed without gloves? I'm like, no. He's like, dude, you got to try it. He's like, it's a totally different thing. He's like, you're so connected. I'm like, I don't know, man.
I even touch my machine without gloves on. When I'm trying to set up, I'm like, oh, this feels weird.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
And it's so like, I follow these old just like tattoo history pages on Instagram and I get all these videos and it's like, it doesn't seem like all that long ago where people were doing stuff like that. And it's like now, like I look at it being so new to the industry. It's like, yeah, clean, great things. But I'll see these and I'm like, oh my God. Just what you're saying, like taking a toothbrush to a needle. And which is good.
My light's off.
That's all right.
The battery died.
Maybe. It's supposed to last.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe it timed out.
Oh,
no, she ain't having it.
Battery's dead.
All right.
Yeah. It's crazy stuff. With like the internet and kind of back to what you guys were saying about like cowboys and tattooing and stuff, I see all the time where like I totally like agree with both of you guys. I think tattooing, like when I was a kid, I thought tattoos were cool because my parents said don't ever get one. You know what I mean? I was like, I want one of those. Those are so cool.
Yeah.
But then you have like I see coming up in the age of like social media and stuff all the time, all of like the tattoo influencers and they're doing all like the I don't know, like just shitty tattoos and they're like, I'm the big. Do you think that they're ever like, do you think over time that these people, like time will tell where the people who are out here really doing it right and love it, do you think that that'll like come through the veil, or do you think there'll always be in the industry and maybe it always has been like that, just like
there's always been culture vultures and there'll always be culture vultures. But an unfortunate fact of the current day and age in tattooing is if you're a tatter, you've got to be a content maker too.
Absolutely.
I don't I don't do it. I barely post. But mostly because I'm tattooing 5-6 days a week, 8-10 hour days. I don't have time to do that, and I don't want to do all that. I don't know how to do it. I'm an old man now when it comes to technology. I used to be all right. Now I'm like,
well, we talk about all the time, like the podcast and stuff. This is great. Like doing both is great, but like still word of mouth is like always the best. Anna all the time talks about, oh yeah, I tattooed this person. They told this person, this person, this person. Like that is the best
I
way.
would spend money on goodwill before I would on advertising or whatever.
I think I heard in a different podcast that they were talking about the days when you would try to get into magazines. You know, either you need to develop your pictures and then fill out the thing, send them in, and wait, or the day where we just burn them to CDs, send it in, wait. It's like that took a lot of time. So, because he was the same thing. He's like, I don't know, maybe I need to like flow my hair a little bit in front of the camera and I'll get more appointments. He's like, I don't want to do that. He's like, but I wonder if that's today's sending a disc full of your pictures off to a magazine. Like, but then I think like, how many appointments have I really gotten from being in a magazine? It's like, I know I've picked up one client and that's it. Well, I actually tattoo him in Denver, but that's the only one. So is that worth something? Absolutely. But I also tattooed his wife and she didn't find me through the magazine. So, you know, it would have worked out anyhow. Saying I'd much rather just somebody either see a tattoo or somebody be like, you got to go see so-and-so.
I feel like if you're doing honest tats for an honest price,
Yeah.
in a rad environment, the tats are going to speak for themselves. And if you take care of tattooing will take care of you. Right? I don't know that you need to do all that stuff unless you're trying to be that. Like, I mean, I can think of some names. I'm not trying to.
I think unless that means something to you, oh, I need that.
A lot of them guys and gals are just doing that for the dopamine dump of thousands of likes. No one gives a shit about their tattoos. It's just like, I hate it. Like when certain tattooers, it's a picture of them of one of their tattoos and them half naked. Tattoo half naked. And it's like, which one are you selling? Like, if
it's true,
you know, and if you start to look at the tattoo, you're like, got you. Or the price on the tat this big, and you're like, what?
Well, we were
I know
talking.
people, they're charging $2,000 a day. I'm like, what the hell is wrong
in this state?
Yeah.
Dude, there's like a beginner. I mean, probably a handful of years charging $200 an hour, and I'm like, dude, I know some badasses, and they aren't even charging.
Dude, I raised my price from $150 to $175, and I felt like a douchebag. I did. I felt like an asshole.
Sure.
You know. Plus, it's easier to say 2 hours is $300. You start to get into the 7 hours, you're like,
3. It's 2.5 hours. Oh my god.
I think too, with like you guys being in the industry so long, like that right there, what you guys are saying is part of the reason you give a shit about people. You want to give people a good product. You don't just want to take people's money. And it's exactly what you said. Take care of tattooing takes care of you.
I also think that like we've seen it where people want to do an apprenticeship, and when someone comes and wants to do an apprenticeship, if the art's there, the first thing we do is they come and they hang out. They come and do art with us, catch a tat. Like our apprentice, the current apprentice now, he's been there a year and he's just dropping that he's an apprentice. Because we've noticed that some people look at it like it's just a job. And if you're looking at it like it's just a job, this is not for you. Because if this doesn't consume you, you're not going to be good at it. It has to be all encompassing. And I spend more time with the folks at the Tat Shack than I do with my own family. You know? And the older the kids get, the less that bothers me.
Right.
But it's not a job. This is a way of life. And if you're not in it, you're not in it. And you're not going to stay in it.
I have established this thing of like, what's your why? Why do you want to be a tattooer? That's just something I've always wanted to do. Get the fuck out. Or if it's like, yeah, dude, like I've always been drawing on myself since I was a kid. There's got to be something in there for when the time gets rough, or when you're slow, or nobody's taking your wanna-dos. You're just like, I still love this. I'll tattoo for free if I have to. Because I just want to tattoo.
I'll do tats that I absolutely do not want to do on people that I don't like, and I'll do it with a smile on my face because that's why I'm here. And at least I got to tattoo.
I mean, I could be working at Home Depot. No offense.
I'd rather be tatting than working at Home Depot.
I used to work in Menards, and I'd much rather be doing this.
That was one thing. Like when COVID happened, I was sitting in my house getting fat because I didn't have shit to do. I'm like, okay, house is clean, laundry's done, dinner's ready. Noon? Here. I forgot where I was. Oh, so when we got laid on our backs for that couple of months, I was like, I don't got tattooing. What do I have?
Who am I?
Delivery pizza man? Ditch digger? Like, what am I going to do with my life if I can't go back to tattooing? And I was like, I'm never not going to tattoo. That was one of the things that whole fiasco was one of the things that really cemented for me, like, fuck them. They don't have my best interest in heart. They don't care about my family. They don't care about the things that they should care about. Fuck them. I'm never laying on my back again.
I mean, we pay you millions of dollars. Can't you at least hold a press conference or educate people on like how we daily come in contact with stuff that kills us potentially? You know, that's just normal. That's why we have to take bloodborne pathogens and all this and this and this. So like, I mean, like, let me take the risk. And I did a poll, And I got 500 people. They're like, I'd get tattooed right now. Yeah. Right in the middle of it. Sent that to the Congress people or whatever. And they're like, we're getting there.
You let people bungee jump. You let people jump out of airplanes. You let people swim with sharks, man. Come on, bro.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's true. Yeah.
I'll wear a respirator.
And then there's LASIK eye surgery.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. By a robot. Well, I think, like a big reason that we want to do this podcast is to combat that, because the health department ain't going to do it.
No.
And there's a lot of non-tattooed people out there that run the risk of just walking into a shop that is now being ran by a 2-year-old tattooer and having either a horrible experience, getting a horrible tattoo, or both. And so it's like, well, there's no way without it taking way longer. Like I heard this as it is now, the statutes, the tattoo statutes that are on the books now took 9 years to happen. So that means if we want to see any legit change that we think could possibly help our industry and help the general public, it would take an eternity.
Yeah. It's bureaucracy at its finest.
So let's just educate the public instead.
Yeah.
Let's bring people who care about what we do, care about people, and let's try to just reach these people and bypass this whole machine. I feel like that's a little bit more of a punk rock way of doing it, I think.
Yeah, I think the biggest obstacle in that is that people have been trained to trust the state,
Sure.
the bureaucracy, and because they think they have their best interest in mind. But the only thing that the state is, so like release forms. Why do we have release forms? It's because the state opens itself up to litigation as soon as it implements licensing, right? What can happen is someone gets tattooed, let's say, and they have some kind of really bad reaction, right?
Yeah.
And I believe there was a case in Minnesota where they traced it back to Dynamic, and that's why Dynamic had that recall, because there was a bunch of things that were going on. Don't quote me on that.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't want to disparage Dynamic because they're my favorite.
Yeah.
Black, but
yep.
Once they open themselves up to litigation, the only thing that they do from there on out is protect their own asses. So they're not going to make the process easy. That's one of the things that I actually really appreciate about is that she is like, no, this needs to change. This isn't right. We got to do something about this. But you can see she's frustrated because she knows, like you said, that it's not, that makes sense. Let's get that done.
Yeah, let's write that up.
Let's pass this over to Terry, and Terry can read it, and then she can pass it to Sharon, and Sharon can pass it to John.
Well, they've straight up told me in some of these calls with like other shop owners, a couple years ago, that the best way to do that is to write your legislator. Like, never mind.
Yeah.
Like, thankfully, for a period of time, we were tattooing, and she still gets tattooed here, like our district senator. She was cool. Like, she was legit. She got me on a call with the health department, and she was even like, we need to make these changes. And they're like, those are good points, and we'll take that.
But that proves the point. That proves that they're what you said is accurate. It's going to take forever, because when someone like that in that position calls and says, yo, what's the deal? I got a guy. Here's the tatter right here. And they're like, well, sucks to suck.
Yeah. Just we'll get it. We'll get around to it. Yeah. So it's like, okay, fine. I mean, this trade has existed for decades, hundreds of years, potentially before this health department or the regulations. So it'll do just fine. On the other side too, and currently, if those of us who want to see that stuff happen push it forward, least we can do is educate people.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't mind that there's licensing.
Yes,
right?
I
don't
agree.
mind that there's rules.
Yeah.
But if there's going to be rules, let's have them make sense.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do things like you did during the pandemic, where you're going to lump us in with another group, then lump us in with that other group. So if they're getting paid to be laid on their back, we need to get paid. We shouldn't have had to wait as long as we did. Like,
dude, no doubt. That was painful.
Again, that's a failure bureaucracy.
Yeah,
They care about the system, not the individual parts of the system.
That's a good point. So you've talked a little bit about like how when you guys get an apprentice, and again, I mean, I think somebody probably could write a handbook on that, but that would kind of be meaningless, I think, because it's like, well, that's a way.
Yeah.
You know, that's not my way. I wouldn't know how to do that, or it's maybe doesn't follow like what I'm trying to exude from my shop or whatever. So in a nutshell, what's your guys' process? And like, how do you even decide that you're going to take somebody on?
Okay, so we just had a young lady come in on yesterday. She came in yesterday. I was tattooing, so Mitch took a look at her portfolio and then, in the nicest way possible, chopped her down. Stop copying Google Images. Stop copying tattoos that you think are cool. These things aren't going to work. This is why.
Yeah.
When you come to a tattoo shop, don't come empty-handed. Maybe come catch a tat. Chit-chat with everybody.
Yeah.
So like our current apprentice, year and a half ago, we started talking with Mitch. They both surf up in Lake Superior.
That's so crazy.
And so that's like their connection.
Yeah.
And then Mitch was like, this guy's talking about it. And he does, he's an artist. He's a photographer. He's a graffiti, and he does a lot of wood burning. Super rad stuff.
Oh, dude, that's so cool.
So he's got the artistic ability.
Yeah.
So we started hanging out, and the only thing he's been doing is the standard stuff that apprentices do: cleaning, answering phones, tearing down, set up. But even getting to that took him months. I mean, I don't think he did his bloodborne pathogen thing for a few months, because those are things that let you know that you're moving up, right?
Yeah.
And there should be a little bit of gatekeeping. We don't haze.
Right.
You know, we're not mean to our people. We're not.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making you babysit my kids or
go stand on the corner.
Right. I'm not going to make you dress up in a unicorn outfit.
Wash my truck.
With a sign spinning. I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah.
I actually feel bad sometimes when I ask them to do personal stuff. Like, I had some mail they need to go to the post office. I didn't have time. Like, bro, you can take the truck. Like,
I don't know when it was. I'm like, dude, can I ask you to do the most apprentice thing I've ever asked anybody? Can you go grab me an energy drink at the gas station? So I feel you.
So started off with like the cleaning, but while they're drawing. So we start them off usually copying some of the hitters. Grime, drawing a blank.
No Cherry Creek.
No Cherry Creek.
Oh man, I implement that.
Dan, I'm trying to think of some of the stuff that we've got up. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, good.
Anyway, so we have them start off by copying people's flash shirts. We don't really explain a lot to them while that's happening, but after a while, when they start to see it click, oh, this is why. Oh, you can't put black on black. This is why you can't put black on. Once they start to realize that, then there's no stopping us, because we're like, oh, we're excited because they're starting to get it. You know. So painting, still painting. He's feeling broke because he's not making any money. So we got a bunch of his prints
that's cool.
made so that you can sell some of that stuff.
Great.
Tearing down, put machines together, why they work the way they work, what geometry is in a frame, because frame geometry is very important when you're coming
coils.
When you're coming, it's all coil. Like he's learning on coils, learning about coils.
Wow, nice.
Not that he won't tattoo with a stylist. He's done, like, we got him one of the pen tips for one of the stylus machines, just so that he could play on paper with that, just to mostly so we could feel the difference in why they. Because holding a coil or a Cuban or any of those machines that are quartered and on a tube, there's all that back pressure. It's not that we want to limit him. It's just that the beginning of tattooing is as important as to where we're going in tattooing. Right? Like, the evolution of it is part of it. And I feel, and I know Mitch feels, that if we're not teaching all those things, we're doing you a disservice. When you, like, there was an episode of one of the tat shows where they were given a safari machine and they had to put it together and then tattoo with it. Almost all of them couldn't put the thing together. They had no idea even what the individual parts were. And that doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm just a naturally curious person. Like, when I first saw one of things, I'm like, how does this thing work? Right?
Why does this do that?
And then you learn things like capacitor. What the hell's a capacitor? And there's different ones. They do different things. But that's also to prep him for when it comes time for him to tattoo. Coil machines may make sense for him. They may not.
Yeah, right.
He may need to be into whatever else makes sense for him. But at least he's starting at the foundation. So everything after that is on good stone. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not on some flimsy.
Yeah.
So then he'll tattoo himself. Always first, right?
Yeah.
I think it's always fun just to let them design their own first one, just because I always do it too big and it's too intense. And then they're 6 hours in, just like, oh, I can't see my stencil. But Mitch is nicer than I am, and Mitch dialed it back just to a speed skull with a beanie, you know what I mean? And like I said earlier, he's doing that on fake skin now in preparation for doing it on himself. Cool. And he'll tattoo it 5-6 times on that fake skin before he gets to himself.
Nice.
And after that, we'll see what happens. We got the seminar coming up with Randy Randerson, which is going to be rad.
That's cool.
A lot of that's going to be a refresher for me, which I'm stoked for. And Randy's a really he knows his shit really well when it comes to the coil machines. He'll tell you exactly why. He'll pick up the machine that you have, and he'll listen to it run, and be like, or even he'll just fiddle with the spring, like, this is what the problem with this machine is.
Wow.
And that's all good. It's all good. Getting to know people, making the networking of it all, getting to know. Like, I would have loved to have known dudes like Randy Randerson when I was first coming.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the goal in the apprenticeship with us is not we're going to create a tattooer and send them off into the world. I want to know these tattooers the rest of their lives. I want to be friends with them the rest of their lives. I want to be able to walk into their shop when I'm retired. They'd be like, "Yeah, Ted's here." You know. It's not. We're not creating people for a job, and that's it's never been that way in tattooing. Tattooers who taught people how to tattoo never looked at, like, I'm creating this person for a job. That's why they had to come and hang out. That's why they spent a couple of years with him, because to find out this guy, you're going to get halfway into this apprenticeship and realize you hate this human being. Hate's a strong word, but
I fully agree that the true colors come out.
And like I said, I want to know these people for the rest of their careers. Sure. Because they're younger than me. They're 10, 15 years younger than me. I'm going to die before there, but I want to know them the rest of their life. And not only know them, but love them and be loved by them.
Well, and I think that, aside from the podcast and the reasons behind that, as a shop owner, and maybe you've experienced this too, one, at least me, and I've evaluated, like, is it me? But it's hard to find 1, tattooers, 2, tattooers who care, and then maybe 3 tattooers who will stick around, and then they'll dig their heels in, they'll hang their hat or whatever. And so I would keep seeing, like, dude, I just saw this other guy, man. He just switched shops. I swear he has not been there a month, and he's bouncing again.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Dude, I'm like, you're not thinking about your clients. Because now your poor ass client has to drive all the way over here, and they're just, now they're, what? Now I got to go, okay. And I've heard clients like, I followed so-and-so to 4 different shops, and you can hear the annoyance of that. And so I do think that there's something. But, I also understand that tattooers are kind of vagabonds and just, well, at least the old ones. But I feel like bringing on not every person who wants to tattoo, but I feel personally that teaching people is a way to preserve tattooing, and hopefully an honorable, respectful, humble way. That it's like, sure, we can just get you, fast track you so that you're doing the thing, but no, let's teach you why, and let's teach you the history. Let's plug you in with some of these dudes who've got gray hair.
I'm not trying to make money off these kids, and that's I think one of the main differences between, like, us and some of the people where we're at is they're about the ducats. They're just trying to collect shekels.
Well, it's for shop owners, that's a whole new revenue stream.
Yeah, we don't make any money off of our people. They're chair rent. Well, we got 2 commission artists, but that goes into, like, things like insurance, and swag, and all that kind of stuff. Like, Mitch and I have never collected $1 off of the people. We've only been open 2 years, but we don't. One,
No,
I'm not trying to make money off of people.
Yeah.
Like I love tattooing. I care about tattooing.
Yep.
The money is just a happy byproduct. Of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the world has changed. People are different,
Yeah.
and COVID changed the game a lot too. Like pre-COVID, employers used to be, and this is just in general, like employers used to be able to count on that one employee, that person that was a ride or die, that was going to be there no matter what.
Sure.
And that's not how it is anymore.
No.
That's why bars were closed on Mondays and sometimes Wednesdays, because people realize like the rat race is sometimes not worth running, or whatever it was during COVID. But I think the tattoo industry is about to find the fuck out, because there was a huge boom. I can't imagine starting my career, say 2016, 2017, going through all of that till now to where tattooing is calming down. The COVID boom is over. It's done. Whatever.
Do you mean as far as clientele?
The amount of clientele and the amount of tattoos they're getting. There was an obvious boost, right?
It was insane.
It was. Now imagine you started your career at the beginning of that.
Oh,
and now you go on Threads, right? You go on Threads or Instagram, and people are like, "I have to leave. I can't. I'm not making any money." Well, you're not. Then you didn't love it, and you don't belong here. Deuces, good riddance. I'll still be here, plugging away.
That's funny, man. That's what Brandon Netzel, One Life, he said that exact thing. He's like, I think this is going to be the testing moment where people start to fall off.
They're already starting to fall.
But, I mean, you tattooed through the 2008 recession, and so did I. It was like a year into One Life, and I'm like, dude, did I make the right decision? But, stuck in there, and it was slow, but here we are almost however many years later.
I think we are at like that 2008 time frame in tattooing. People are about to find out.
The neat thing is that we can look back on that and go, that passed too. We just gotta.
It ebbs and flows.
Right.
It'll swing back. It's probably not gonna swing back for a few years. It'll swing back, but
Well, I think too, it's kind of in a demented way, maybe. It's kind of fun to like, okay, now how do I need to adjust? It's almost like fun. Like, what do I got to do? I'm not gonna do a TikTok video or anything like that, but it's like, how can I get creative? How can I find this business or get these clients or whatever? We're 6 stickers all over the place, or I don't know, let's go into this place and just talk tattoos, because then everybody's gonna start talking. Whereas that's always a way to do it. It's just like, well, for a while we didn't have to do that. It just flooded in. So now we got to maybe go hit the pavement.
Well, now we're back to tats for the people. For a long time it was just tats. Tats. Now we're back down to tats for the people. What people want is what you're going to give them. You're not going to be able to sway people unless you're willing. Okay, so like at the last few conventions we've been at, I've heard all these artists complaining about not having any tattoos to do, and it's like,
you're gonna echo somebody.
There are plenty of people trying to catch tats. You just don't want to charge a different rate for that tattoo. And I'm like, okay, would you rather tattoo or not tattoo? You're cutting $200 off the price of this obscenely priced tattoo anyway.
Sure.
So you'd rather sit here and bitch than actually do the tat and make a couple of bucks?
Right.
And you're not making the amount of money you think you're worth.
You might have fun doing
things. You might make a client that's come in and let you blast the rest of their arm or whatever.
Dude, we kind of joke lately. I'm like, dude, I miss tribal. Now I say that
it's coming back,
dude.
It's
I'm
coming
like,
back.
Well, he's trying to learn how to draw it. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, all right, but the last tribal thing I did was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. It was a walk-in.
I just started a tribal phoenix on a dude's back.
Dude, that was awesome. I'm like, that was so fun. That was cool. I'm like trying to draw it again, and not anybody wants it yet, but
tribal is one of those things that helped back in the day, helped me become a better technician, because I noticed that like when I was doing them, of course you want to use as big a liner as possible around that outside edge, and then you're just in there packing away, and then it comes back and that line is super strong and the center isn't super strong, and you're like, oh, so if I use a smaller liner, then that won't be as visible. Oh, well, now I'm using a smaller liner. Let's see how long I can make this arc. You know what I mean? How perfect I can get those. because sometimes it's the only joy you can find in
Right.
some of those tattoos is how technical can I be with this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm here for it, dude. I'm here for whatever tats.
Sure.
I mean, other than the fine line stuff, which
Mm.
my only concern with some of the fine line stuff is longevity, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Same with some of like the stippling stuff.
Yeah.
It's aesthetically pleasing. I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just a longevity guy, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm a bold will hold kind of
Right.
shit. Like,
Right. Yeah. I've even got some of those tattoos that, you know, they were done with nothing but a liner. And, you know, at first, like the first one I got was supposed to end up a color tattoo. But after all the lines are done, I'm like, dude, this thing looks like the comic art. It's like, that looks done. Let's leave it because I like it. And then, now you just see it's like just powdery. You know, because those lines have settled one, but it's like, oh yeah, that still looks so sick. And so for somebody who doesn't know that, you know, how many tattooers do you see? They're like, that's all they do. It's just fine lines. Like, oh, you mean that's where you stop learning?
yeah.
Like you didn't learn
Mhm.
for whatever reason, color saturation, color blending, shading.
Well, that's the thing. If you sit and you talk with them for any length of time, they'll say things like, well, my brain doesn't understand that anyway. And you're like, oh.
You can teach it.
You do realize you can read a book.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just keep learning.
It's been around a while.
Mhm.
There's this thing called the internet.
Mhm.
But I get it. You know, that's why some people are really good at black and gray and they try to
Yeah.
do a color piece and they just drop the ball. Right?
Yeah.
Their brain thinks that way.
Sure. Yeah.
But fine line tattooing is a fad.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come. It's going to go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like I said, my only concern with that is what is that tattoo going to look like?
Mhm.
Am I going to have to cover this damn thing up?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to have to cover up all 900 of the things you did in your career? Like, God damn it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right.
What do you love most about tattooing, and like what has kept you here this whole time? Through the ups, the downs, the recessions, COVID,
Mhm.
you know, what just really made you like, I don't give a shit. This is where I am. This is where I'm staying.
I love this shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's all that, like, once I realized that I could actually maybe do this,
Mm-hmm.
it just became all consuming.
Yeah.
There's not really, because when I get home, the kids tease me because I get home and it's more tattoo stuff.
Yeah.
It's more, you know, and like my daughter has grown up in tat shacks, my youngest.
Mhm.
She's a really good artist because I was 6 days a week. Still a lot of times 6 days a week at the shack, and I'd get home and I'd want to spend time with her, but I had to draw for my next day. So like we're drawing together, you know. You can go, I think it's on like my Facebook and my Instagram. There's Frey at 3 years old with a machine and a pen tip and a disposable cartridge drawing away on the light box.
Yeah.
You know?
That's cool.
Exercise
those muscles now,
What else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
At this point, you know, I'm almost 50 years old. What the hell else am I gonna do?
Well, I know you've tattooed your one daughter, at least.
Both of my older daughters. Yeah.
Okay. Have you tattooed any of your other kids?
I've tattooed. Okay, so there's 5 altogether. My 2 older daughters have been tattooed, and the 2 boys I've tattooed.
Okay.
But my youngest doesn't have any. And that's another thing is I think there's going to come a point when not being tattooed is counterculture because everybody has tattoos. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that. I think that might be what some of the micro tatting is.
How old is your youngest?
She'll be 16 here soon.
Dude, that's how old mine is, and I don't know that she's.
Yeah, Freya's like I told Freya, I was like, hey, yo, why don't you learn how to learn how to tattoo? I was like, not necessarily for me. I will pay to send you to someone because.
Yeah.
Although I feel like I could teach her, I'd either be too easy on her or I'd be too hard on her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do you always learn the best from your parents? Sometimes you learn better from someone that you respect and that you don't have that relationship with where you can snap off.
Yeah.
Because when we're at work, I'm not your dad. Now I'm the boss.
Right.
And what I say is what I say. And that's
Yeah.
how, you know. She's talked about maybe doing it, but it's just like I said, I really believe that's going to come a point where it's counterculture to not be tattooed. Everybody has.
I mean, that's a good point, and it's the first time I've heard that. But man, shit. Then what?
Well, we'll be retired.
I don't know. Do you have a retirement plan? Like, you know, I mean, I know that's like
investments and kind of stuff.
Just whatever. Like, you know, I will tattoo until I'm whatever.
I'll tattoo until either my hands and my eyes don't let me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. There came a point in Tawny's life where she should have stopped tattooing and just managed the shop.
Yeah,
because she did damage to her reputation because she was sick.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. I'm going to be one of those people. You got to pry my dead cold fingers off the tattoo machine.
Yeah.
You know? But hopefully I'll just be the angry old blue arm guy at the front of the shop telling everybody what to do.
Yeah. You know? Sitting over there. You know. Yeah.
Back in my day, we didn't get to say no to walk in.
Yeah, like, who the hell is that?
It's that whole ideology again of like, this isn't a job, this is your life. Even beyond your years of tattooing, I'm sure even if you can't, you're still going to be hanging out in the shop every day.
For sure.
You know, I think because I can relate to that too, like especially when getting into it. Back when I met you, it was kind of like, you know, just getting into it still, and it was all consuming. You just like, hey, can I borrow that DVD so I can watch it and learn something, or you know, magazines or any convention, any tattooer you could talk to. It was just like always like, I don't know, you just couldn't get away from it. You're just always thinking about it.
Still can't.
Yeah, I think for me, yeah, I think I could probably say I can, but I don't. You know, it's even still when I'm at home, if I'm thumbing through Instagram, I'm not looking at spaceship Instagram. It's like, oh, dude, that's a cool color combo. I want to save that one to see what that inspires later, or I'm drawing wanna-dos or whatever. Or, you know, if you're out and about, it's like, you know, it's kind of a game to like spot the good tattoos. And it's like, well, there's one. Kind of like good tattoo bingo. It's kind of hard to find sometimes. But
yeah, they're either really bad or amazing.
Yeah.
They're so bad, you're like, where in the hell?
Right.
Or you're like,
or you try to guess. Like,
I
bet you I knew who did that. It looks like so-and-so. Did so-and-so do that? No. Oh, I know them too, though.
What's fun is like when you start to travel and you go to places, say like Grants Pass, Oregon. Right? You be walking around with Grants Pass, Oregon, you be like, go away, go away, go away, go away, go away.
When's the last time you were out there?
2015.
Okay. I think I chatted with you like right after you came back from that. Does that convention, what was it? Was that a convention?
No, just a visit.
Oh, wow, cool. What do they do? Isn't that the tattoo no, not tattoo gathering, but the tattoo invitational that Joshua Carlton used to put on? I thought that was in Oregon too.
Could be.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Oregon is a crazy. So like Eugene, Oregon, when we left, I think Eugene's like 130,000 people. When we left, there was 27 tattoo shops. Because you're going to have a tattoo shop in anything. House, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Like you'll walk into some places, there'll be a sign and you're like, do I knock or do I just walk?
Yeah.
It's a house. Like,
yeah. Interesting. Isn't that what Gogway's shop was? Wasn't it like
a house?
Like, yeah, that's so cool. That's super cool.
I think it's, if you have a designated spot, like, you know, if you have a designated spot, right. But whatever.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you do roughly 5 conventions. Are they just all locally, or do you guys travel?
Yeah, mostly. I'm getting too old to travel out of state. I'm even starting to get too old for the conventions. Like by Sunday, I'm wrung out ragged.
It is so much overstimulation.
I love it though.
For me, it is these days. Like, dude, I get
FOMO so bad.
Do you really?
So bad. Most of what I do with the conventions, I'll catch tats.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to hang out with tatters, you know, and network and just get to know people.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm trying to learn what I can from who I can, when I can, whether it's what to do or what not to do. I love the conventions, though. I just am getting too old.
Yeah, it requires a lot of, just like you said, you're just kind of spinning around looking for where's my tape? It's not in the drawer because now it's in some Tupperware container that's 3 Tupperware containers deep.
We've mitigated that pretty well. Like
that's cool.
Mitch and I have been talking about buying cases and working off things that are exactly, so we'll have 2 of them exactly at the shack the way it is, and then our travel cases are the exact same thing. Everything's in the exact same place, because I hate that. What I do now at a convention is I have a travel case, and then I have like a shoe organizer rack, and so all my stuff is in my shoe organizer rack by how I need it. first, second, third lap. You know what I mean? So that everything's right there. So I'm not doing that spinning in circles business.
That's pretty smart.
I learned a lot of little tips and tricks just doing conventions for the last 15 years or whatever on how to like make sure you're making some bucks, so you're at least breaking even and having a good time. Not feeling like you're a carny or something.
Right.
Because like there's one here down here in the city. I went not as a tattooer, but just to go, and I was like, there's not a chance in hell I'll ever come back to this one because it just felt like.
What month was it?
You know,
now there's two of them.
Oh, I love the St. Paul one. I'll just say that.
Okay,
so the first
is the winter one. Yeah, dude, that thing, like that is the promoter benefits from that one.
Yeah, I hate that. Dude.
It's like what the
I do not like it. I understand why people go, and I'm all about it. Do your thing. It's not for me. I felt like I was going to walk around the corner and be able to throw balls at a guy sitting in a dunk tank, you know. And like, there's weird shit like this whole table of dudes tattooing with no shirts on. I'm like, okay, I guess that's your gig.
That's hilarious.
And I mean, I've traveled and tattooed. I tattooed at music festivals for years. Like I've done the carny life. Like, but that shit was like, whoa, I can't do this.
It's like conventions. Like seem like it can be just like a trading post where like everybody like gets together and like you said, like
tat conventions are a giant tat party for tatters because if you go to those things and you look at the tattoos that win, you're like, like one time I was going up against I'm a space's name, new school guy, super rad, buff guy.
Oh,
Justin Udell.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Like so. We're neck and neck on color sleeve, and I walk up to the judges and I'm like, if you don't give this trophy to him, you are stupid and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, I do not deserve this trophy. Give it to him. That's just me being objective. Like this is objectively a fucking rider tattoo. It's way better. Like, and they're all like, So again, like when you go to those conventions, more often than not, when you're up there, there are some tats where you're like, yep, that was the winner. More often than not, you're like, who they got judging these things? You know? So if you're going to it for that, if you're there for the trophies, you're there for the wrong reason. Conventions are all about just this, hanging out, chit-chatting, kicking around ideas, keeping the faith alive, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know that, I've picked up too many clients from them. I can count on one hand how many I have, so it's like, well, whatever. I think for me lately, I don't even know the last time I did one. It was just like, I just want to go see if I can do this still, like tattoo in this ratty environment, loud ass, and dude, after Friday night, I'm like, dude, I'm so tired already because just noise pollution and just like,
it's a lot. It is a lot.
It is a lot to consume.
I love it.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool. Yeah, you're not as old then as you think you are.
I'm getting too old for it. I pay for it. Like the last one we went to, probably took me a week to where I was like, okay, all right. I still love tatting.
Yeah, right. Well, then if you just go right from the convention back into your normal work week, it's like, dude, I'm so fried right now.
Yeah, I learned you got to have a day off after.
Yeah, and that's even harder if you do travel for them, like especially to another state. It's like, this is insane. Just what am I doing? Yeah, maybe I picked up a trophy, but who cares? Nobody's gonna care.
Yeah.
Some people do, but yeah, I agree. It's like, yeah, dude, because I've won trophies where I'm like, I should not. I went up against that.
Yeah.
And mine has a lot wrong with it. This one does not. Yeah, so it's like, what are you guys doing?
Yes, that's not why I'm there.
Because it's big.
And I get it that especially younger people, it's a pat on the back.
Yeah.
And also, their clients love it. Yeah. I get it. I'm not disparaging that at all.
Oh.
For me, I'm going there to hang out with people that I only get to see at the tax shows, or people that I haven't seen since the last time I did a guest spot, or they did a guest spot. And it's, I don't know, I love these guys.
Yeah.
Even the ones I hate, I'll still love them.
Yeah, right. Are there as many dudes tattooing still that you've kind of always known, or have any, like, you said like some of the youngsters kind of quit, a few of them maybe, but
yeah, most of the people that, I mean, there's guys like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're one of a few.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the people that started tattooing when we started tattooing, they didn't make it.
Mm.
They didn't make it because they were doing it as a job, not as a passion or as a, you know.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get past the starving artist part of it.
Sure.
I was fortunate in the beginning in that I got thrown into like the traveling and tattooing. That was flash from noon until 4 o'clock in the morning, just nonstop. And
I think just that flash.
Yep.
Period.
I miss the flash days, bro.
I mean,
I love doing custom pieces for everybody. I like hand drawing all of them. But sometimes it'd be nice just to get to work and be like, oh, you want that one?
Do
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't have to think about the colors. I just have to know.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I'm glad I got to experience that too. You know, at Tani's shop, Skin Deep. It's just like, dude, some days would be insane. Remember that? Remember we would tattoo each other when we were slow, and then somebody walk in. I was like, all right, whose turn is it? Yeah. Oh, Josh, it's yours. You gonna take that person?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Dude, I've got tattoos. I'm like, yeah, I got to get rid of that one. I've even lasered some of the stuff that I've done on myself, but things like this, no, dude, these are memories.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people come in and be like, I'm gonna get this covered up, and I'm like, why? That thing's dope, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's ugly, but it represented a time in your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like the ones who are like, yeah, I got this in Vietnam for $25. Like, I'm not covering that thing.
Dude, I was tattooing in Elko, Nevada, and this lady came in and she had an original Lyle Tuttle. He had done it rose on her hip, and she's like, I want you to cover this. I was like, I'm not touching that.
No.
If any tattooer touches that, they're a turd.
In fact, I want to take a picture of it.
Yeah, like,
with
you should be proud of that thing. I'd be like, that'd be literally like going and buying something at auction for thousands of dollars to take it home and spray paint it.
Yeah, it's a grail.
Yeah.
What are you
it's
doing?
A grail. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Very crazy.
Yeah.
But people don't look at it like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how the justifications that people make for getting tattoos, they have to have a reason.
Yeah.
I get tats because I like the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some tats that have meaning, like I got with my mom who passed and my grandpa and that kind of stuff. But like
these days for me, it's like, I want to see how that dude tattoos.
Yep.
I want to watch him.
I'm running out of space for that.
I know. So that's why, like, again, like this whole leg can be lasered and I can be like, heck yeah, dude. But yeah, that's, you know, partly why I wanted to get tattooed by Scotty. It's for this. And then
Munster?
Yeah. And then
is he still around? I see
Yeah,
duh. I saw him at the convention.
He's still in St. Cloud. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's still in St. Cloud. So yeah,
I was thinking John Von Glahn. I don't know why.
He's still around.
I haven't
too.
seen him in
I think
since 2008 in Medina.
I think he's just happy in his place and staying low key, and the dude still just cranks out insane work.
Yeah.
Like, dude, and it's all big.
That's the crazy thing. Like, I look at my work and I'm like, I'm getting there. When I look at them guys working, I'm like,
I know. Yeah. I mean, especially his biomech too. It's like, dude, that you were so gifted at that. Like, I really have to think. I love it, but I always have to think super hard if I ever want to draw it. Like, how does this work again? I'm like, oh yeah. Look at some dudes, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah, we were at a convention together, and he said, "Come here, let me see your neck." He's like, "I know who did that."
Yeah. Brandon has this weird. It's not weird. I mean, I think it's just so distinct. Where everything he does has like this interesting shiny look to it, whether it's like a tiger or a biomech piece, like what's on your neck. And it's like, dude, I wish I could think that way because it's so cool. And it's like, you know, it's a distinguishing thing that, oh, you know who did that. Do you feel like your work is like that? Like you could, like somebody could spot it in a lineup? Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
What do you think separates it or makes it distinguishable?
I don't know, because
Dude, I'm glad you said that.
I don't know, because in Duluth, I can, if it's people that are in my purview, if it's tatters that are in my purview, I can look and be like, I know who did that tattoo. They'll walk in the shop and I'll be like, oh, how's Jeremy doing? Or whoever, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
there's just a signature in there, you know.
Yeah, that's weird.
I've told you too. It's like I just all the time I sit and just watch CM tattoo and just stand, watch old things, and like your flowers, I can like somebody walks in like, oh, CM did that one, or and like a weird thing too is like your points, like the way you like wisp out, like I can look at that and be like, yeah, that's probably just those weird, like you said, like you probably never notice it.
I
like,
give people
I
the same
it.
answers. Like I don't
know.
Unless it's just like I kind of joke that I'm like a one trick pony. It's like I use these 5 colors together all the time. Maybe that's how you know, but it's because I really like them. I like how they work together, and so far that's the only colors I've learned that work together. Maybe someday I'll learn other ones.
I tattooed a lady in Walker that was from Brainerd, and then her niece came to get tattooed, and they essentially wanted the same thing, but not. And so I drew it, tattooed it, and she's like, well, me and my aunt have the same tattoo. I'm like, no, you just have my flowers. Like, they just like, it's just how it is.
Sure.
If you ask me right now to draw that flower, it's going to look like that.
Yeah.
I don't.
Just how I make them.
Yeah, this is how it is. They're not the same. I promise you that.
Right.
It's just, I did it
to you.
Sure. Yeah. What's your favorite subject matter to maybe draw or tattoo? Maybe they're different.
My favorite stuff to tattoo is usually wildlife color. Cool. I don't mind doing it in black and gray.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it has the presence that like a big color piece. Like to me, the big color pieces are just like, bam, here I am.
Yeah.
And like I love a good black and gray that's seen a couple seasons in the sun and has settled down and it's nice and contiguous the whole way through. But I don't know if it's as striking and as powerful as a big bold color sleeve. You know, that it is what it is. But love birds and bugs and that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Flowers. And
do you like drawing that stuff? Like if you aren't drawing for a tattoo, you're just like, I'm just going to draw for fun.
Weird shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Painting a tiger right now, but I'm throwing in a bunch of like, I don't know, like mandala kind of stuff in the background, just filling space. One of the things that I had decided about a year ago was to stop, unless I'm at work, painting a flash sheet for the wall, and most of our walls are at this point getting crushed in our own stuff that we've painted. I want to start painting for fun and just having a good time with it, and then maybe it turns into a tattoo.
Yeah, sometimes that's hard though, because with a tattoo, it's like I gotta draw it this way so that it's legible or it works as a tattoo. Versus like some of the stuff I draw for fun, I'm like, I would never want to tattoo this. I wouldn't even know how to tattoo this. Maybe, I mean, obviously I could copy it, but it's like, no, this is just weird.
Do you find? I know I've heard you say, like, do you find it's good to have different artistic like outlets?
If I had the time, maybe. I don't have the time.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I'll get home and I've learned that I can't draw. I can't have a finished. If I go to bed with a finished product for the next day, the next morning I'm going to redraw it. I'll hate it. I don't know why. But what I do now is I get like my sketch and everything put together. I kind of know how it's going to go down. And then in the morning when I get to work, because I'm usually at work about 9, I start tattooing at 11. I put the final touches or rearrange or so I don't have a whole lot of time for other because it's just tats. So
absolutely.
It's nice to sleep on it.
Yeah, and I'm a tinker, so I like make foot pedals and clip cords sometimes, but foot pedals are fun just because there's you can make a foot pedal just about anything, and you got to be a little creative on how it's going to work. And
what's the craziest thing you made one out
of? Rat traps and
pretty cool.
So like, is this
it's brass.
Yeah, so
or
this
maybe
right
it's
here,
not brass.
This right here, that's your contact.
That'd be
or
wild.
if you flip the spring, then this is your contact. That kind of stuff is fun to do. Not that they're always usable, but it's just fun to tinker with.
Right there. That's the
tinkering part of it. Trying to figure out how to make it work. It's fun.
Seeing that that capability or possibility and stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and like the last one, I was in the middle of nowhere in Montana, and there was this giant truck stop. So we pulled in. When I say the middle of nowhere, I mean we're in the middle of nowhere. And this thing is like this giant country western mall.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Dude, there's $1,000 cowboy boots and
Oh,
$500
dang.
cowboy hats, all the way down to like the stupidest little things, right? But
Yeah.
they had all these horseshoes. So I bought all these like decorative horseshoes. I've been turning those into pedals.
Oh,
That's pretty
a
cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you sell them or you?
Nah, no. Just take them, give them away. Or,
Yeah,
like
that's
I'm
cool.
using my rat one right now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Is there anything like in tattooing where, and we can end at any time, whenever you're done talking. Like, do you think, is there anything in tattooing? Because I see some of these things that like Joshua Bowers especially makes. I'm like, dude, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
But he's got, he's definitely got, he's a machinist. I mean, he's got maybe mechanical knowledge. Is there anything that, and if you don't want to share it, that's fine, but that you wish you would have created, or, like, yeah, making some cool foot pedals, but like that invention that would kind of like, wow, that's awesome.
So, like the hustle butter or like the tattoo grease,
Yeah.
I've been making my own for years and
Really?
years and years and
No
years and
way.
years. And I wish I'd have done something with that way back when,
Sure.
Not that I'm
Yeah.
picking on Rob or whoever, but there's a lot of them that are just culture vulture-y. It's just some dude jumping in,
Yes.
throwing the word tattoo. I know what it costs to make that little 6-ounce, 8-ounce tub. I know exactly what's in there, all the way down to the stickers, shipping. I know how much that costs. And you're going to charge $30+ for that thing?
Yeah. Because it's got tattoo on it.
Yeah.
Well, Anna, she, like, I don't know, 2 days ago, she was like, oh, I was approached by an aftercare company. I'm like, what's the name? She's like, X. I'm like, I was just emailed by them too. Brand new company. And I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. I'm like, do you have any samples?
Does it begin with an R?
No. This was well. So then I'm like, do you have any samples? Because I'm open to trying anything. I'm not gonna, just say no. And they're like, we'll see if we can get some. But do you want the sponsorship package or like the paperwork? I'm like, no. Like, I want to try this stuff first.
Something
And
okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. Why is that? I think that's because they didn't realize that they're messing with a tattoo that's been around a long time and that has some respect for the industry. Because any young tattooer that didn't have a mentor that was like, what are you doing? Like, why are you prostituting yourself to these people?
Yeah.
We're all going to say the same thing. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's try it out. See what happens.
Well, because they asked the questions like, how many conventions are you going to do next year? I'm like, dude, honestly, most of these conventions are bullshit.
They are.
I'm like, I want to start doing the hard ones, the ones that are hard to get into, and like some of the old ones that I'm just now learning about, honestly, they're like, we want to have a convention that is like back in the day. And, there's like 50 dudes and that's it. I want to try to get into those. I'm like, how many are you guys doing? So just those types of questions they're probably not prepared for.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's like, no, I'm not going to do any conventions. So is that why you were sending me this? Just so I'll
It's exactly
push
why.
it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Right. Instead of like, did you even look at my work? Do you even want my name attached to your product?
It's
Maybe
like
I'm
just
an asshole.
giving it to as many people as I can.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to buy that stuff, I want to buy it from a tatter or a retired tatter, a guy who can't, or a gal who can't tattoo anymore because they just gotten too old or whatever.
Right.
I'd much rather buy it from them than from a guy who's like, I tried tattooing and it wasn't for me, so I'm going to step in and step all over your shit and give you this stuff.
But I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's cool.
It is
glad. I'm glad that you
But
are.
I'd rather. This stuff is not rocket science, bro. Like everything that we use is very simple. A tattoo machine is simple. It is simple.
Yeah.
Now, getting the geometry and some of the things correct it takes some time and some practice, but punching ink in the skin is not a hard process. I kind of feel like cavemen were doing it. So.
No, some of those tattoos are still visible, and those people are mummified.
One of the nice things about tattooing slowing down a bit is some of the culture vultures will fall to the wayside too.
Sure.
You know? And even like some of the big companies that people order from, they used to be owned and operated by tatters, and then they got bought out by whomever.
I have recently heard that, and that's when I started looking elsewhere. It's like, okay, I want to just buy from these.
That's one of our goals at our shop, is to buy from tatters for tatters. You know what I mean? Like,
that's cool.
if they're whether they're building machines or they're selling their needles,
Yeah.
in part because they're not going to give us any flack when it comes down to something's wrong. If something's wrong, it just is what it is. We just got to fix it. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not looking for free shit.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. Let's get it fixed.
Yeah.
And tatters realize that, because for the most part, tatters are no nonsense people, right? Like, we're not trying to be dicked around, and we're not trying to dick people around.
Well, and I think that's why I appreciate Joshua Bowers so much, because so far, like, I know Dan Cuban is like, he's always making videos about his stuff. I'm like, this is how to, here's how to adjust this. This is why this, and that's cool. I don't know. I find that the Bowers are a little more suitable for me, but you know, there was this time where I was like a little bit torn between like, dude, you're always changing stuff, but now I'm kind of like, but he's always changing stuff. Like, clearly he's using this stuff.
Yep.
And so maybe he's changing it because he knows that it's going to make this one little thing that much better. It's going to make that machine stay in tune a little bit longer. And so it is. It's like, well, dude, can I ask you why you're doing that? Like, what's that little piece for? Oh, it does this. Okay. I guess I didn't even realize that was a problem, but you're ahead of the game, which is cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's sweet.
It's cool too, just like how we were talking about. Anna just ordered a new machine, and obviously, like, it's taking a little bit more time. He's like doing this custom one for her or whatever. But it's like that dude's hands and heart and brain are into this machine.
Yeah.
That's now yours.
Yeah.
It's not some Amazon corporation you're getting this from.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think coils, have always been fun. To just, there's character with each one of them. If they did come from a machine builder, it's like, whoa. And then if it was like a sick one like Aaron Kane, it's like, dude, there's never ever going to be one of these ever again. Those are insane, amazing pieces of just history, like a little gem in your hand.
Yeah. Well, that's I'm not trying to disparage stylus machines, but Pinto, Ferrari.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to keep in your garage longer? You know what I mean? Like, I promise you that
that's true.
Coil machines will be sitting around and sitting in people's drawers much longer than their space dildo, bro. I mean, like for instance, when you see a Bishop without its battery pack on it, you have no idea what that is.
Right.
I feel like just about every human being around, if you held up a coil tattoo machine, that's for doing tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. That is funny. That's a good. I do see them on tattoo gear for sale on Instagram. Like, oh, that's a Bishop.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the battery on it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to disparage. I fucking love my Bishop Packard.
Yeah, well, I do. I was watching Nye line with one the other day. I'm like, dude, what is that? It's like it's a 8-round shader where he's like, man, oh my gosh, dude.
It's running that thing hot as hell.
Yeah, I'm like, do I want one of those now? No, I don't. No, I just got to resist. Force myself to stay in this lane. That's the other. How many machines do you have? Like, even ones you don't use.
A drawer full.
Yeah.
I sold a whole bunch too. We were at a convention and this dude named Sugar Shane. I fucked up though, and I sold him 2 of Tawny's machines, and it was right before COVID, and I got a hold of him and he was going to give them back to me, and then we just lost contact. I sold him because over the years I had like repair kits that I had put together, just big deal.
Sure.
I sold him everything that I had at the convention. I was like, taking off. Give me $4,000. I was stoked.
Yeah.
Now it's a drawer full of I don't like this machine. I thought I did the real. I got a drawer full of styluses because I, like everybody else, was looking for that one machine solution, and I was trying to find one that'll drop a line, and finding one that'll drop a line for my hand speed.
Yeah.
When I'm getting above a 7 liner is tough.
Yeah.
It's real tough.
Yeah.
So I I love the Cuban, the swing liner.
That's
Or
cool.
the sidewinder.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's fun with his machines too, because every Sunday he drops a new batch. It's like, dude, that color, that pink is so sick. And that's my issue. Is I'll see Joshua. I'm like, dude, do I need another biomech machine? No, but that one's got holes in it. Mine doesn't.
Yeah, that's the thing though. We're also at a place in our career where we can buy a Tat Gat just because we like the way it looks.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna use it. I just want to. Like I bought one for this dude because it had a Skeletor on it. And it was purple and yellow, and I was like, I don't care if this is off Amazon or not. I'm buying this thing. I'm putting it up as a piece of art.
Was it cool?
Yeah, a little
No
coil
way,
machine.
dude. That's
super,
awesome.
dude. It's probably like a micro dial. It's got such a short throw and heavy back spring, real life force. It's like he quack.
Yeah.
What the?
Yeah. That's funny. Wow, I would have bought that too, man. I love some old retro toy stuff.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
Anything else? I think we covered everything.
Yeah. I mean, appreciate you driving all the way out here.
Yeah, super honored, man.
It's been great. Just me being so new, just listening, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, feel free to swing by, say hi. Check out the shack.
Where are you in Duluth?
Are you familiar with Duluth?
So I know the back way, or just going through.
Okay, so you're just on 35, right?
Okay.
So 35 hits Thompson Hill, and you start to drop down into Duluth, right?
Yeah.
So you drop down in Duluth, and you skip the first exit, which is Central Ave. You could get there from there, but you take the next one, which is 40th, and then double back. We're right across the street from Denfeld High School.
Oh, are you guys on the west side?
Oh, yeah, you still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right next door to Whole Foods Co-op.
Okay.
Right across the street from, like I said, Denfeld, and then the Dairy Queen, the Brazier that's been there forever.
Yeah.
So,
very cool.
Used to be a sports clip, so it's long and narrow.
Oh, okay.
Got 6 stations.
That works.
Yeah,
probably
it's
set up pretty
spot.
Decent to transform into a tattoo shop.
Yeah, they were stoked when we were like, no, the floor is great. We'll keep it.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
So because they're, it was for people cutting hair, it's like soft. So like if you drop your phone, it's like,
oh really?
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
Whoa.
And we used to all have rollerblade wheels on our chairs.
Yeah.
And we had to get them off there because you'd sink into the floor.
Just too squishy.
Well, you'd sink in and you'd try to go move your chair, and the chair would kick forward on you because the wheels had dug into the ground. Dude. It's so wild.
Yeah, whereas usually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. How many people? How many artists?
6 of us all together.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome, dude.
There's Sydney B.
Yeah.
Summit, who's Peachy Keen.
Okay.
Minnesota Mitch, that's Mitch Goggins.
Sure.
And then the Waltons, which is Jenna, she's Yummy Tree. And Errol, who's Fat Tats, PH Fat.
Nice.
And then me. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
So the Waltons are newest. They came from Cambridge.
Okay. I want to say I know
Josh
of
something
those.
or other. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
Misguided Angel is I think where they came from. We met them a couple years ago at a tattoo convention. It's rad people.
Yeah.
They're both really young. I think they only been tattooing a couple of years apiece.
Nice.
But they're a great fit for us. The thing that I love about the Tat Shack that we have is everybody loves being there. Everybody wants to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
We like doing art together. It's not a dick measuring contest or it's constantly like, what do you think I should do here? Okay, well here this is where I'm at now. Now what do I do? Kind of,
Yeah. Right. There it is.
Elevate each other instead of
Definitely.
whatever.
Yeah. That's
Camaraderie.
awesome. Yeah, that's very cool, and that's a rarity. I feel like that's becoming more of an old school thing.
Well, we've had to tailor it that way. We've had to let people go because they were the problem. And it's like, if you're going to be the problem, you're going to do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, we want it chill. We've all been in tat environments. It's too much. Like, I'm not trying to deal with all the...
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be difficult.
Fun and all the stuff that makes us feel not good could be all the stuff that's just the normal part of this, because there's plenty of this that can, a day can beat you up in tattooing.
For sure.
You got some lousy skin or a needy client or, like I don't need the people that I spend more time with my family being assholes.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, for sure.
And if somebody watching this wants to get a hold of you, get some tattoos, what's the best way? Call the shop, email?
So we're all independent contractors.
Okay.
So the best bet is to go on our website or our social media and message us right from there.
Cool.
We don't handle anybody else's schedules. So if you call the shop looking to get a hold of individual artists, you're going to get told to reach out to us individually.
Yeah.
I think that's the fairest way to do it.
Agreed.
Especially for young people. And we're trying to lead by example and teach the young people that are coming up through us that like it doesn't have to be the way that you see it. This is the way that it should be. It should be transparent. You should know where the money is going to. And if I'm building a $500,000 home off of you, you're going to know that I'm doing that before you even start work. You know, not that I'm going to do that. But you know what I mean?
Right.
I think transparency will help our industry, especially the young people coming up.
Yeah,
because there's an obligation to us older guys that are bringing new people in to do it the right way.
Yeah, and that's exactly like why if the next person who comes in here, they're probably gonna not be a tattooer.
Right.
You know, so it's like, okay, you know, and you answer these series of questions, come hang out, see if you jive, talk to the rest of the people here. We'll make a decision kind of together, or if it's a yay or nay, and then we'll go from there. Because yeah, man, it's kind of in a way a dying art, but one that can maybe continued if those of us who've seen it for a minute care enough to keep passing the torch on.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a dying art, but it's definitely on us to pass the torch on for sure. And, but not just pass it on with some honor, a little bit of integrity, a little bit of
so
like give a fuck.
I mean. Yeah, maybe instead of a dying art, that respect, that reverence.
Is not just stuff a tattoo machine in some kid's hand and send them loose on the unsuspecting masses at $60 a pop on your stupid flash day.
Right, and I'm sure that you too, having apprentices, you want to like be proud of them, and they want to be like, yeah, I learned under Josh. It's part of your legacy.
Right. Yeah, I don't want any of my people coming to be, because we do show the class when the tattoo's done. Everybody gets to see it. I don't want one of my guys coming up and be like, yeah, and I got to be like, what the fuck happened, bro?
Yeah.
Hey, let me pull you aside.
Yeah.
And like I said, we foster a very open environment. I'm walking up on people. I want to see what people are getting. I want to see the tattoos that I don't get to do. Damn it.
Sure.
I want to see the cool shit.
Well,
but I'll walk up and be like, what is happening? Like the other day, Tatter's doing his thing, and like he's stretching and he's working in this big of a window. And I'm like, bro, use your middle finger and open that bitch up. Like, oh, you look at all that room. He's having it's a hard thing, you know, like because you're trying to relearn something. I couldn't imagine trying to.
Yeah, it's like tattooing a neck. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll wrap it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks
for
for sitting down and chatting.
Thanks for inviting me.
Cool.
Let's go find a sweet corn dog spot.
Let's do it.